Imagine you are inspired to make a YouTube channel. You start making custom minifigures based on the things you love. You also did your best to make your figures unique and have it resemble yourself. Now that you upload the video to show others what you made, time goes by to later check and see what other people think of your work. People may love it and encourage it to continue and see the effort you put into your minifigure. Until you finally check the inbox, and all you get are comments not about your work itself, but all it is are comparison to someone else's. After that, you feel discouraged, depressed, or even angry because nobody would see the true creativity behind that brushwork, or even understand originality or the effort you put into something you've made based on your interpretation. The topic I want to cover is particularly about the fandom in the LEGO custom community, most specifically the Michael MGF fanboys. I'm not talking about his fans in general, but mostly his fans who has given other customizer a bunch of crap lately and want to judge them based on MGF standards. Before you comment on this video with hateful words that clearly shows you didn't watch the video nor do you understand the point of this, I have a disclaimer. I like Ross. I love his work. I have many favorites from him, as well as some least favorites, but from what I've seen, he makes good quality videos better than the ones I made in Movie Maker. He is definitely in my personal list of top 10 customizers. There is no doubt when it comes to customs, he has certainly inspired people who love LEGO or art to pick up a paintbrush and make their own creation. Hell, even I was inspired. Back then in 2011 to 2012, when I first bought my own Avengers set, I had this idea in my head to add more details on minifigures with decals and paint. When I first started off, I had no idea who Ross was, or even his friends. Nor did I realize there was a custom LEGO community in general. I quit at first because I sucked at painting things so small compared to my other artworks I made in private lessons or school art projects. It was until 2014 when I first discovered Ross for the very first time. The first video I've seen was his Winter Soldier showcase, and that definitely inspired me. And later I discovered others like the Moose Figs, LEGO Manic 9, Shotgun 22 STD, and etc. That was when I truly feel to be part of the community, and how I was re-inspired and later became good friends with the people I just mentioned earlier. Now you know my story, you can stop thinking I'm an MGF hater, because that is entirely false. Ross is awesome, alright? I am a fan of his work. Now, I swear someone is going to comment something like, I think you're a bit touchy on this matter.
It seems like you all have a problem with this.
Don't let the small amount of people bother you that much. As long as the majority loves your work, don't feel too pressured. Okay, for that last comment, yes, I will get to that part soon. But for the first two I just mentioned, if you truly think it's only me who has a problem with this, you need to search very carefully before making that stupid comment. I talk to people on a daily basis who has to put up this bullshit on social media. I don't have to make this long rant video if I want to. I can easily just say, screw Ross annoying fanboys, and I'll be done. But the fact that there are people who want a solid argument, and the fact it's been over a year, and other people are suffering the same problem as I am, it just has to be said. I just want to put this out there and hoping that people will finally understand. That is why YouTube exists, people, to express ourselves, so don't comment that I'm taking this too far or I'm too sensitive, just because I want the community to understand these certain situations. If you think that the right way to make reviews, give compliments, praise, or criticism has to be based on comparison, then you shouldn't even review, give compliments, praise, or criticism in general. Comparing one another isn't the best way to give feedback. I want to get this out of my chest because this situation has been bothering me. I want to be free of this pain, and I appreciate that you could comment something clever after watching this video. I will be honest though, I don't like Ross fanboys, and I even give him the nickname, the Ross Boys. I don't want them to die in a fire or anything, no, not like that entirely. I'm just annoyed with them. The specific ones I'm talking about are his biased fanboys and his oblivious fanboys, because both don't see the true meaning in their comments, or anything what they're typing up on YouTube, or on Instagram or anywhere else. I don't mind the normal fans. I have fans myself who are also fans of Ross, and they're still beautiful, great people. I bet they're super hot as well that I just want to give them a nice wet blow. If you like Ross's work, that is completely a-okay with me. If you prefer his work over others, or over mine, because you feel that he's just better, or he has more influence towards you, then that is also completely fine. Like what you want. It is your mind and opinion, and you don't have to feel bad. Just don't be a dick about it and rub it in people's faces, though. However, if you truly deeply love Ross's work to the point that you have tunnel vision to directly or indirectly bash others and ignore the clear difference between similarity, inspiring, coincidence, and copying, plagiarizing, ripping off, then I suggest you to turn off this video before I carefully explain how wrong you are. There is a difference between a fan and a fanboy. Let me give you an example. I am a Ross fan, a Star Wars fan, DC fan, Marvel fan, porno fan. Basically, a fan is someone who appreciates one's work. Someone who is a supporter who contributes in some ways, either passively or actively. To bring this context in YouTube, typical fans would, number 1, give feedback. Number 2, comment something meaningful such as praising the work or criticize. And not comment fucking first. Number 3, watch the video. Number 4, subscribe and follow other social media. Number 5, maybe even give fan art to show appreciation and or send some stuff in the mail. Number 6, help spread the word to others so people can check it out themselves. That is why people who love watching Ross's videos knows he has friends also and later check them out. Now what is a fanboy then? Fanboys are basically average fans, but intensify it with Viagra. People use the word fanboy in 2 different ways. One is positive, saying that you're just a huge fan and you're just very enthusiastic about it. That's cool. I'm a superhero and a Lego fanboy, and I'll continue to cherish it until the day I stop ejaculating. But nowadays, we just use the word big fan, or huge fan, or any other word besides fanboy, since that word today has been used as a derogative term, and it is understandable why. Look at the internet. Do you know why people look at YouTube comments in disgust nowadays? Well, it's mostly because of fanboys. Well, trolls do too, but at least they know the truth. Their job is to mess with people. They know what they're saying is entirely false. They're just there to just lie and just cause trouble. That's their purpose. At least they know what they're talking about. Fanboys can actually do damage in social media. To quote my friend Delta Customs, he said,
A fanboy is a fan who sucks up to someone they look up to non-stop. They defend their idol like it's their job to do so. Whenever they see one criticism, they get emotionally attached to bring that person down and defend what they love while not even considering the opposite opinion. Heck, you can love it too. Nothing against that, but you can't look up to them like they're God. You have to accept that. He is actually on the dot here. I'm not trying to sound like a smartass here. I too have been a fanboy before. Whenever someone wants to criticize something I love, I would get passionate about it. It was until I grew older, I started to realize my fanboying was actually very immature. The things that people need to learn nowadays is that fanboying won't get you anywhere. Don't depend on your favorite franchise or favorite person as if it's your life. Learn the mistakes that I made in the past, guys. The things you love are not your friend. They don't last forever. Except porn! You may watch Ross's videos, but you don't know him fully. I may not know anything about Ross, but at least I know what I am talking about. He is someone you watch on YouTube, not your best friend or anything, so stop treating the things you love as if it's precious jewel, because they aren't that beneficial in reality. I want you guys to listen to this, and this is from Ross himself and what he has to say to his fans. Hey guys, what's up? So, I'm here doing a vlog, and I'm wearing my striped shirt, and I'm gonna, yeah, let's just continue. I think as much as I love and appreciate my fans, I do see a few of them take things too far from time to time. A lot of those times from what I've seen, those people don't always seem to fully understand what or who they are talking about. Yes, there are plenty of people out there who copy my work without giving any credit whatsoever. That usually goes unnoticed. But just because someone has a similar interest or skill to that of my own doesn't mean they're copying me. On the same note, it is also up to you guys to realize this and not let it affect you. There you have it, guys, from Ross himself. Thank you. As you can see, even he can sense the disturbance given from his extreme fans. Now I know this video might end up probably an hour long or something, so just listen to this while you're either making customs, doing homework, jerking off to Daisy Ridley, or make me a sandwich while I list some points. Here are some things that people, especially
mostly the little kids need to know. Number one, learn the word copying carefully. People claim that I have copied Ross's work. It's not just me here. Pretty recently, Legomatic9 had the same comments on his Star Wars video, and Shotgun22SD got a comment on this Captain America figure, and others have been accused for copying Ross too. Let me ask you this. What is copying? I feel like people are just too ignorant to know the meaning of the words or even understand what they're saying in general. Copying basically means to make something identical. It is simple as that. Now, do my figures look similar to others? Sure, but there is a reason. How many Iron Man Mark III suits are there in the first Iron Man movie? How many Green Arrows are in the Season 4 of Arrow? How many Finns are there in Star Wars Episode 7? The answer? One. For each and every single one. If you have a group of people and tell them to make a figure from a movie using a selected few reference photos, then of course in the end the finishing product will look similar to each other. There is obviously going to be a few detailed differences, but overall it's the same figure from the same movie based on the same photos. What did Ross say again? The person you kids worship as a god? Just because someone has a similar interest or skill to that of my own doesn't mean they're copying me. Let me bring an example outside of LEGO. Suppose you're in a room with a group of people and your assignment is to write a summary of To Kill a Mockingbird. Don't you think that you and the rest of the people will end up writing the similar things? Scott and Jem, Atticus as a lawyer, racism in Alabama, Great Depression, Boo Radley, Atticus losing the court case, rape, black man died. Of course, in the end, you're going to write down similar things, but really it's the wording, the structure of the summary, and the presentation that makes it different. Now back to LEGO again, because I bet you people don't care or read books. Take a look at my Avengers, Age of Ultron Captain America, and Ross's Captain America. Still think mine's a copy? If you still think so, then shut this video, because I highly recommend you to see an eye doctor. These figures are nowhere a copy or a plagiarized version of Ross's, but they are similar in terms, and same goes with the others. Since the fact that Ross boys piss me off, and my friends, let me explain this in detail why this cap is nowhere a copy to that cap. First off, the helmet. Hands down, the helmet is totally different. Ross used a flash cowl for his Captain America helmet. I used a Sub-Ultron officer helmet, but I topped it off with adding a 3D strap. Still not convinced? How could you not, you blind fuck? Next, the torso. Yeah, we both use the same LEGO group's torso. I won't argue against that. But this leads me to my next point. Number 2, Ross isn't the only one with good ideas. Ask me this, is Ross the first person ever to use the LEGO group's torso for the figure? You do realize there's like 7 billion people in the world, and you won't suppose that even if the minority customized Legos, someone else could have had the same idea too. Hell, I bet I didn't even came up with Captain America's 3D strap first. Maybe someone did it before me, but nobody noticed? Didn't that get in your head? At this point, I bet you guys can see what I'm talking about. I could just like spend the next 30 minutes to talk about Captain America's arms and the legs and tell you that the detailing is actually pretty different. But I guess you guys know what I'm talking about anyway. I still have more to say, but I hope you're still with me and you understand. If you still don't see my point, you're probably just retarded. There was this one annoying fan though who criticized my Age of Ultron customs because I use the same hairpiece Ross used for Thor, or the same hair for Scarlet Witch, or even went with Cape Madness for Hawkeye, or Woody's arms and legs for Ultron. Oh, I'm sorry. I had no idea that there's a law that says whatever Ross used for his custom, no one else should do it too. Since people like to blindly accuse me without any knowledge supporting them, I would love to make a defense based on proof and logic. Ross wasn't the first person to use the Qui-Gon Jinn hairpiece for Thor. I had seen others doing it way before even he started to make Age of Ultron figures. I even had people suggesting me to use it when I already had that idea since 2013. I bet those people who claim I copied the hairpiece didn't notice that Ross put a poll on Twitter and Facebook asking his fans which hairpiece to use. and one of those options was the Qui-Gon Jinn hairpiece. The comments I've seen in that post are, yes, that hairpiece is accurate. I used it and it worked. Yes, you should go use it. Mind blown, guys. Ross didn't make the final decision to use the hair. The fans did. Lastly, if you have been subscribed to my channel for quite some time, then you remember that I made custom figures for Thor the Dark World. I even used a hairpiece for Thor, but I even used a hairpiece for Thor, but I never recorded it nor uploaded because I didn't have enough materials to make Malekith. My original showcase was going to have Thor, Loki, and Malekith. I finished Thor and Loki, but at the time, that was before I even considered buying green stuff, and I was having a really tough time how to make Malekith. And once I finally did, it was already too late because I scrapped the showcase already, and the flesh arms I used for Thor, I used it for Caitlyn Snow for my Team Flash showcase instead. Plus, those old paint jobs were ass, so I think it's better you guys not see my terrible paint job. Number 3, I'm gonna slit my wrist. Oh my god, this is taking forever. Why even am I making this video? Shouldn't all this be common sense in the beginning? Number 4, everyone is different, and that is a fact. Period. There will never be another 97 Lego Maniac, or an MGF, or a Lego-Matic 9, or any people in the world. We are human beings meant to be different, and nobody can bang each other and make the same exact person for the second time. We are not machines or products that can be replaced in factories. Even if I paint the exact same design that Ross has on his figures, which actually takes a greater skill, it's still going to be different because in the end I painted the figure, Ross didn't. It will be hard to copy the exact paintwork or brushstrokes. Nobody can be like one another. You know that saying you kids learn, that probably in kindergarten, always be yourself. Jesus, you people really need to learn your stuff. The reason why people taught us this is because it's true. We can never be like someone else. We can imitate and try to be, but in the end it won't work. Yes, there are people who copy others' design. I have seen people copying my designs before in the past on custom minifigures, but I don't mind. And do you guys want to know why? Well, stick with me on the next point. Why do you think the designs look the same? Maybe the person didn't have the same idea in his head before. Centuries ago, Sir Isaac Newton and Wilhelm Leibniz both discovered calculus. If two geniuses can create a math system that high school and college students learn for generations separately, like they never did a collaboration, they never even invented calculus together, then I highly guarantee someone will paint the same design on the minifigure arm. Number 5, inspiration. I guess people forget this word still applies for custom minifigures. One of the reasons why artists such as myself and other LEGO customizers love to make our work isn't because of money or just to be popular. One of the major reasons is because it's exciting and we inspire people to do the same. I enjoy the most when people come up to me and say I inspire them creatively to make customs themselves. However, the reason why less people are inspired is because of those who always have to keep comparing others every time, and it gets really discouraging. I actually had a couple of friends who love superheroes, but they never end up making a superhero custom. And when I asked them why, it's simple. They said this, because people will just think I'm copying Ross. And it's really sad to hear. If you people actually watch what you say in the comments, this situation could have been solved easily and we would live happily ever after. In bed. I don't mean to downgrade Ross in every way, but his fans claim to say that he is the best customizer in the world. He's good, I'm not gonna lie, but the reason why he's one of the great is simply because he's more well known. Take that popularity away, he's no different from me and you. We both equally love LEGO, we both equally love to paint customs, and we both equally love to do what we love. We're all the same, guys. We're all normal people. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We are not gods of one another. We're not masters or slaves to each other. We're all human beings, and you need to learn that. Ross is the best customizer because he can paint straight lines. Well, so can anyone else. Just because he can paint straight lines doesn't automatically make him the great. If other people can do the same thing too, then wouldn't that also make them great also? Number 6. Stop comparing a customizer to another customizer. Let me bring an example other than my videos. Aaron uploaded his Star Wars The Force Awakens showcase a few months ago. This is the first time he has ever received comments such as,
"This looks exactly like MGF."
"You copied MGF."
This is a point when I just gave up and just became super pissed. Saying that I copied Ross or comparing my figures to his is one annoying thing. But saying that to one of his friends is just despicable. I don't care if you mean to say that in a rude manner. What matters is you compared a person to someone else. Whether you meant it as a compliment or not, what matters is you still said it. If I accidentally killed a Mexican family with a truck, does that mean I'm still not going to be trialed or even get arrested because I didn't mean to? Do you guys even know why people make customs? They make customs, again, simply because they want to. They may be inspired by someone, sure, but in the end, they don't want to be exactly like that person they admired. I truly appreciate it if you guys are inspired by me, but I also like that you find your own voice and your own creativity. And that's what I've seen. People just making their own things based on their interpretation, not based on others. That's what I did for my customs, and I believe you will find satisfaction if you make your own designs and build your own foundation. Back to Aaron's Star Wars customs. He didn't make the figures just because Ross did it. Nor did anyone want to be another Ross. We customizers such as myself and Aaron want to make Star Wars figures, or superhero figures, or any other figures in general, simply because we love our hobby and the theme. But we have to put up with all this BS given to us from outside forces. Let me give you another example, and I promise it's not going to be a book. I don't even read books in general. Let's say Ross is a Chinese meal, and Aaron is Italian. They are two different types of cuisines, and does it make sense to compare two completely different dishes as if they're similar things? No! You can say which one tastes better personally, but you can't compare the two dishes as if they're similar because they're not supposed to be. Same goes with the customs. Yes, both share similar qualities, like they use Cape Man as materials, or they use the same Lego parts, or they use the same head for this, that, blah, 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 blah. But in the end, it's the execution of making the minifigures, and the end results actually share very different traits indeed. Ross isn't the only person in the world who can use brick arms, Cape Man is, Brick Forge, or any other accessories. Do I see a sign that says Ross only in any of these brands? Well, I don't see it, so stop treating it as if it is. Besides, I bet you people who keep saying, oh, you copy Ross, oh, this is like MGF, this is like this, I bet you also use them too, so what you're saying is actually pretty hypocritical. Lastly, before I move on to my next point, if Aaron's Star Wars figures look exactly like Ross's, then wouldn't the details look identical then? If I show you these figures side by side, would you be able to tell which one's Aaron's and which one's Ross's? If you can easily tell which is which, then you just proved that saying Aaron's figures looking like Ross is entirely false. You just proved yourself wrong. Number 7, can anyone help me hide a dead body? Seriously, my roommate is coming soon to class and I have no idea where to hide this. Does anyone have a Kleenex also? Number 8, mentioning a different customizer to give a compliment is actually very rude. Like I said before, nobody is trying to be like one another. Customizers strive to make their own work, and whenever we receive comments such as, these look like MGF, it's just wrong and disrespectful, even if you're giving a compliment. Not a lot of people get that. They honestly think it's an okay thing to say. Didn't you guys hear of this statement in elementary school or in life in general? Don't judge a book by its cover. If you have, then obviously you haven't learned from it at all. Just because my Avengers Age of Ultron showcase has the exact same minifigures in it or using the same materials, doesn't mean that it's a copy to Ross's figures in any way. To quote Ross again, just because someone has a similar interest/skill to that of my own doesn't mean they're copying me. To quote President Theodore Roosevelt, if you guys remember him in school, comparison is a thief of joy. That is true indeed. Every time someone makes a superhero custom, people assume that person is copying Ross or trying to be like Ross. Just because one person simply wants to make superhero customs doesn't mean that person is trying to be like Ross. Just because I'm super horny as hell doesn't mean I'm a rapist. Well, I wasn't caught so far. Most fans always think that in order to give a compliment or their opinion on other figures, they have these questions in their heads wondering,
Is the quality good like MGF? Are the lines straight like MGF? Are the figures awesome like MGF?
that is exactly the problem here. Whenever I make a custom, I want people to judge my work based on my standards rather than someone else's. I guarantee other people would like so too. Say you're in class and you present a project. Do you want your teacher saying, your project isn't as awesome as this student's project, so therefore I'm failing you? Do you think that's fair? Is that how life works now? That we just have to compare others and just don't care who they are as a person, but you have to always consider this person's so high that everyone should be like that person? Is that really what we're going for in this world? Put yourself in my shoes. Do you want people to see you like someone else? Or would you want people to see you who you really are? Number 9, originality. Answer me this, what is original? Most kids nowadays see original is in the LEGO community as,
If you do it first, then it's original. Anything else is like a rip-off.
anyone who thinks this way should never try to make a custom, watch custom minifigure showcase videos ever again, or even critique art in general, because that is not what original means. In this world, it is hard to come up with something new because it has been done before. However, why do you think certain movies such as the original Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Terminators, and much more do well and blew people's minds? It was the execution and the creativity and the materials that movie makers were given that made these certain movies great. Even the original Star Wars movies borrow plot elements we have seen before way before it was made. Lucas himself said that a movie had inspiration from a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. Star Wars tells the exact same story about a hero with an adventure, good versus evil, good guys win, love story, ticking timer to destroy something, bad guys with red things, good guys with blue things, and hot women showing cleavage. The Indiana Jones trilogy are great, but let's face it, they're all the same movies. They all share very similar plots, such as Indiana starts off in an adventure. There is an artifact. Action, bad guys get killed by artifacts, there are always creepy animals, there is always a big and tough dude and they're fighting on a scene, and so on. In Terminator, artificial intelligence taking over humanity. Boy, we definitely haven't seen that before. Originality doesn't necessarily mean what you did first. Originality comes from creativity, the inspirations you gain, confidence, and most importantly, you in general. Maybe you are the first to come up with something, but I highly doubt it. Turns out someone had the same idea for R2's rotating head, and I thought I was the first one who came up with it. Number 10, even saying that one is better than Ross or someone else is just as bad. Nobody wants to be Ross, and certainly nobody wants to be better than Ross unless they are selfish. We just want to be ourselves and make things what we want to make. Making custom minifigures isn't a race or a contest, it's just a hobby we enjoy, but hardcore fans treat it as a game or a sport. Kinda like Marvel vs. DC, but in reality, it's just a fun thing to do. I don't want to be better than Ross. I don't want to be better than anyone. And I certainly don't want to be like that person, but instead I want to be better than I was in the past. That is why I improved over time, because I want to make good figures rather than the bad figures I've made a few months ago or a year. Also, how do you think that Ross would feel if he sees your comment that says, you are better than Ross? Stop saying I'm better than Ross. I don't think Ross would take that very lightly. Saying you love my work is a different story, but blatantly comparing me to someone else while saying that I'm better than him is just disrespectful to both sides. I guarantee even Ross doesn't want to be like me. He just wants to do his own thing. And I gladly respect that, because I want to do my own thing too. People should really treat LEGO customizers as if they're human beings with different characteristics, and not machines debating which one works better. Number 11, if I die from extensive talking, can I hold the fanboys responsible? After all that breath I just wasted and all the gallons of water I drank to keep my throat moist. I think I made myself very clear. You can like or dislike certain LEGO customizers, that is totally fine. I don't expect everyone to love my work. Some people even said in the comments that they didn't like this one figure I made in my videos, and that is totally fine. However, you shouldn't just say that someone else did a better job and be a total dick about it, because that person isn't trying to be better than someone else. And don't say that you also did a better job, that makes you cocky. Customizers just want to make a goddamn figure because they want to. Give customizers a break and stop treating them as if they're MGF puppets and start treating them as a completely different person with different standards. I'm not trying to say that I am right and you guys are wrong and be a total narcissist about it. All I'm trying to do is help set fans in the correct path and show them a better way to give compliments while showing them the truth. The statements what I said were true even way before I even said it. Why do you think school exists, kids? Learn from it from once. You people have heard these things before and you know that they are right. All I'm doing is just reminding you while saying, hey man, what you just said isn't actually the right thing to do. I want you to realize that. Whenever I tell people this on YouTube, they actually finally understand, but there are a few of them who say, "You are rude, you are twisting my words, blah 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 blah, I don't have common sense, Misa." If you are still that person, I have this to say. I have been nice to you way too long, and I try to help you. It's time for you to start returning the favor. In real life, whenever someone corrects you and gives you advice, I highly advise you to hear them out and consider what they are saying. I struggled to do this before. Whenever my parents offer me helpful tips, I would usually ignore what they were saying and don't care what they say, which turns out to be disrespectful. That was until I finally smartened up and actually respect them for once. Oh god, the blood won't come off the carpet! Thank you for watching this video if you actually made it this far. I hope that people will now finally understand where we stand and learn much from this rant that I typed up way before recording this. I'm actually reading this off right now from Microsoft Word because I actually typed this up way before recording this. To my fellow subscribers, thank you for supporting me for all these years during harsh times. I truly love and care for every single one of you. Yes, there are times you annoy the hell out of me, but that doesn't compare to the genuine passion we share together. To the fans who used to comment incorrectly and now finally understand, I'm glad that this video actually did something to help you make stronger compliments and critiques in the future. Remember, this wasn't meant to put you to shame or anything. This is just for you to be aware. To those people who still refuse to listen, go suck a cock. To my fellow customizers, whether you're my good friends or not, or I don't even know you at all, keep doing what you're doing. Never stop pursuing the things you love to do. Lastly, to Ross, if he is watching this, thank you for your input and thank you for inspiring me to give the paintbrush a second chance. You did actually help me improve my channel, and I'm actually starting to have a stronger connection with LEGO again, and art. So, thank you. You're truly a kind person, and I hope you didn't find this video offensive in any way because that was not my intention. Now, send me